it's a funny story, isn't it? Because it's kind of predictable in certain ways. Like Joseph's strategy is not so great. A woman who's lusting after you to ignore, and it says in one of the translations it's different. It says he's talking, despite that she talked to Joseph every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he shouldn't have talked to her, first of all, and he also shouldn't have been in her presence ignoring her. Like, either way, if he was eliciting, like, lustful behavior, I mean, it was kind of not surprising that she ended up just grabbing him and begging for it. I don't know, Joseph... Sometimes I don't know how well Joseph knows people, because the fact that he could do what he did with his brothers and behave... oh no, I don't want it, woman. Like, just, I got other things that I like more. Like, oh yeah, that's gonna turn her off. Like, no. I mean, it's like he doesn't know people so well. I mean, don't you think? Like, that was a bad situation. He needed to find a way to be physically in a different place.
Where did you find that coat? Was it given by your father?
No. I must have purchased this coat sometime within the last couple of years.
And the socks?
Socks I believe, are from Las Vegas.
And the shoes?
The shoes I got at an outlet on the way home from Las Vegas. There's a Skechers outlet. And actually, on December 23rd, there's a Skechers holiday party. I forget the name, but I guess I don't know if he's the CEO or what. He invited me to that party and promised he would bring me a bunch of free shoes. but those are, I like these. They're very comfortable.
They look comfortable.
Yeah. They are. And
this is a whole new look for you that I haven't seen before.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
It hasn't been this cold before. So.
It hasn't been this cold, so this is for the cold. The pants are for I've been dressing up a little more, I think, because of the funereal stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the socks? What accounts for the socks?
Well, the way I've always been is when I win money in Las Vegas, or I spend it all on stupid stuff, not on hookers.
On socks.
Well,
towels. No towel today, Joey?
No, but I'm not sweating. I don't think. But
you brought a towel to shore
yeah.
and was like walking down Pico Boulevard with it,
right.
wiping and asking, "Is this okay?"
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say, if you're worried about such things, it was also a Vegas towel. It was a $300 Louis Vuitton towel, and also it was necessary because I was in a real sweating phase.
You could have gotten how many Alexander Technique lessons? You could have had at least 4 Alexander Technique lessons.
I know, but it would have been very bad for me. You can't do that with Las Vegas because I can win in Las Vegas. I'm all right at counting cards.
What's wrong with saving the money instead of blowing it on?
Because it can't become real money. It's not. If you start to view winnings from Las Vegas as a source of as an income, you put yourself in a bad hole. And I have friends who've, I told you I have a friend who lost just an obscene amount of money, and that's how it happens, is that they start factoring Vegas into their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw pretty early on that was a bad road to go down. So if I do go to Vegas for whatever reason, in this case with this friend, I'm not going to, that money will not be any useful to me. I'll buy silly stuff.
According to one view in the Talmud, Joseph's resistance had cracked, and the work he came to do was to yield to her advances. But then the visage of his father appeared to him, saying that if he consorted with her, his name would not be worthy to appear with those of his brothers on the Kohen Gadol's breastplate. When Joseph heard that he would be forfeiting his standing as a building block of the Jewish people, he strengthened his resolve and resisted her importunities.
Wait, so he said his visage cracked, and he was... And
the visage of his father appeared to him.
Oh, okay.
And that's what gave him the strength.
The strength. Yeah, well, I mean, we know he's got a big ego. He wants to be lord of his brothers, so he doesn't like the idea that he's going to lose his... But also, I mean, there's truth, though, to the idea that, like, in moments of weakness, you ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? And sometimes it works and sometimes it does not. but
I remember the last few years, like most of the last 7 years, I've had a rabbi who was my rabbi. And so I would see him in my visage at all sorts of times. And I kind of like lived in fear that I was going to get that email from him kicking me out of shul. So I kind of lived in fear for 7 years. And then the email finally came about 5 months ago, and I got kicked out, and now I don't live in fear anymore.
Right.
Now I can do what I want.
Well,
now I don't have his visage in front of me, and I can consort with Potiphar's wife to my heart's content.
Well, I mean, whether you choose to consort with Potiphar's wife or not, to me that's a beautiful story you just told. Because there's a lot of truth in that story. I mean, and the truth is I think we grow up with, whether it's father or whatever, you grow up with the image of, this is what you've got to do, boy. And and it's kind of not a good way to roll because you discover, because then at moments of failure you realize, well, I didn't really want that anyway, so I'm kind of glad it's over. And so that shouldn't be what, I think for me, that's not what I want to be. What governs me is not the face, the frowning face looking down and saying, boy, do this. It's me figuring out, this is what I dig, That's I guess where I'm at. Does that make sense? Or does
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not there, I still have...
You still have work to do?
Yeah. But I try, and but it's hard, I think we reenact our... Because who is that visage? The visage of this particular rabbi. Now, I'm really not... This isn't about you. I'm saying, I'm applying what I think is a general truth to you. The rabbi is really just another father. And in times in my life where there's been someone who I was like, oh, I gotta do it right, and this is how he would say, it's just a replacement for my dad. And it's like, then you go through your life reliving your childhood again and again. And, who wants that? I mean,
What things stood out to you in this week's Torah portion?
Well, I mentioned there was this was a very rich one for me. So let me scan through and try to focus on a couple. I guess one, what I already mentioned, the conflict between the idea of Joseph, who was great at uniting people and who wasn't arrogant because he was willing to be the assistant, the perennial assistant to great men, with the fact that he didn't seem to know how he hurt people. And I guess for myself, I want, that's not good. So the other...
It's always the shortest answer of every Torah talk. It's when I turn to Joey and ask him, so what stood out for you in this week's Torah portion?
Well, take that as a compliment.
And this long silence.
And then I was like, I don't know. No, but
but
that is a compliment because things do jump out at me, and you do a real good job, I think, of covering interesting stuff I hadn't thought of, but also, I usually am kind of, you hit the spots. I mean that
like
not quite so luridly as I
Puerto Rican
right.
cultural icons and Italian war heroes,
right?
And Jewish painters.
All right, I guess
It's the book of Joey's extemporaneous thoughts on Torah.
It shouldn't be. No, I should come in with
slim volume.
It's all right. Well, I should come in with well-formed thoughts.
Right, this is the volume of this is Joey's commentary on the Torah.
Well, I noticed at my father-in-law's funeral I spoke, and I think I was the only one who just kind of went up there
and
winged it. And I
bet that was an awe-inspiring speech to hear.
Well, no, people seem to like it, but no, I didn't just wing it. I brought up a few things that were important to him and read them, and then I also knew the things I was going to talk about, but I didn't write it out. What's
that Irish song that they do at funerals?
Which one?
Denny Boy?
Oh, Joe.
Did you sing Denny Boy?
No.
Okay.
No, I considered breaking into song, but I thought that might be too weird.
Did you do an interpretive dance at your father's funeral?
No.
Your father-in-law's funeral?
But I was very physically expressive up there.
How do you think they would have reacted if you'd said, instead of giving a talk, I'd just like to do an interpretive dance?
I think that would have crossed a line for them. They just they're used to me being kind of like eccentric. He was eccentric too, or what they think is eccentric. But like the certain There's a line, I think I mentioned it in the Woody Allen in Crimes and Misdemeanors, like, if it bends, it's funny, if it breaks, it's not funny anymore. Like, I think an interpretive dance would have broken it for them. Like, but, I don't know. I guess the reality is that unless you would like me to take a few minutes and identify a few of the things, next week I will, I think, make a point of here are the specific issues that I want to...
writing down.
Yeah, like
Maybe
writing
down
and
some
stuff. Like
points.
writing down points. Well, just to throw, just to give myself some props, I did,
He read this week's Torah.
I really read it, and I read some commentaries, and it was a lot going on this week. So I'm okay with my performance this week, but I think next week I ought to
will be even better.
Step it up. Yeah.